So I had a friend call me up yesterday. He's like, "Fool, why are you going on Facebook and doing a video or whatever?" I said, "I don't know, because it feels good, or whatever. It's kind of therapeutic." And he was like, "Oh man," basically he's saying like, "Aren't you afraid of how you be perceived or whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah, I kind of do, but not really. Not really though, but a little bit, but." No, not really. It's that confusion. But he was like, "Bro, people are gonna think you're crazy or something." Motherfucker, I am mentally ill. What the fuck? Of course. Duh. The fuck? Now, it's not anything crazy where it's like I'm like talking to myself and seeing people and shit like that. But I found that through some therapy, I got what's called bipolar. So this shit is like basically you get really high, like super confident, super energetic, and then like that you drop into what they call like a serious depression. I thought it was just I was having a bad day or some shit, or a bad week, bad 2 weeks. I mean, it can last a long time. But I remember when I had a therapist and he told me that, and I said, "Nah, I'm not buying it." So I switched them. And I went to the second one. And motherfucker, they told me the same thing. So now I have to fucking analyze this. Oh, it was so embarrassing. I was like, what am I gonna tell people? You know what I'm saying? And I remember we already know you're fucking nuts. I was like, all right, bet. But I remember thinking like, man, how embarrassing. Like, what the fuck, bipolar? I also had depression, PTSD. I'm like, come on, man, I'm not buying all that. Like, I had this super bad life and everything. But, I listened, and okay, and then after the second one, I was like, all right, how am I gonna approach this? This is new to me, you know what I mean? But it's not really new, because I've been living with this a long time, man. And like, even as a kid, I was always disruptive. I was always getting into scuffles. I couldn't sit still. Staying in the house was death. I was outside every day since I was about 7, 8 years old. Every day, to some aspect. I'm sure there were days where it just didn't work out. It was raining or whatever. I'd still go out there. I just couldn't sit still. And that'd be ADHD, ADD. They got a name for everything now, right? But it does carry some aspects of it. But he wasn't really focusing on that. He was focusing more about later in life and possibly now, or more recent. You know what I'm saying? But I just remember like how embarrassing, man. I'm fucking diagnosed. Like, oh no, I couldn't. I was like, damn. All right. So what am I gonna do now? So you find a way to approach it and just to deal with it. It's really not like a. Now I'll tell you what though, I love mania. When the mania, now that I'm thinking back, I haven't had it in a long time, but when I used to get mania, bro, you're on top of the world. You could be destructive. There is some risky behavior that comes with it, but you're mainly just feeling good. You're walking on air, and it made me kind of chase that. So like when I hit the depression, what can bring me back to like that good feeling, and hey, you're gonna end up doing some wrong shit. So, but I remember the shame I felt, like, damn, you know? And I know a lot of people got to be dealing with that too, or maybe undiagnosed to some aspect. Because check this out. Who walks into a therapist's office, let them evaluate you, and the therapist says, hey, you are perfect. There is nothing I can do for you. I would say like 99% are going to have something, right? So with that, I'm not really tripping too much. It's just one of those things that hey, could be fucking worse, right? I mean, it could be something else, which to people that suffer from like serious things, bro, it's not a joke. And I think now that we've conquered most of like the world, you know what I mean? Like we've conquered most of the environment to our benefit. You know, everything's pretty simpler than it was like 100 years ago. You know, as far as like, you know, a lot of different things. 200 years ago, like we're living in the best times of humanity to some way, even though how crazy it is. And now we can focus more on like what's going on upstairs with us. And I think that's why it's such a topic to, you know, today, these days. And you know, but it's not the end of the story for anybody, for whatever it is, man. And a lot of people have things, you know, but they keep moving, they keep functioning like you couldn't even tell from the outside. But if you were really to dig deep inside and really like talk to them, and like, you know, a lot of people don't like to share things, but let's say they were just, if they were brutally honest, there's something there most of the time, you know. And I had to deal with that because for a long time I lied to myself, and I wasn't really too open to speaking about how I was feeling. So once I was able to get past that, you know, some new windows started to open up, and I started to understand a little bit better about myself and sometimes about other people. So with that came like a certain freedom, but it also came with that. It took a while to get over that. Motherfucker, I ain't telling nobody this shit. I ain't telling nobody I'm fucking bi. What the fuck? I'm taking that to the grave. But I guess it was always obvious because people used to tell me that. I had ex-girlfriends tell me that. I had friends tell me that. They're like, you're fucking bipolar. And I was like, nah, you're tripping. What the hell? I pay bills, man. I'm handling my business. I don't got no... But it really doesn't work like that, you know what I'm saying? So if you got that shit, if you got some shit, just try to fucking figure it out. If you don't, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here telling anyone to do anything. I'm just, you know, saying it so that if somebody has some shit like that, you know, just seek the right approach to it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you gotta go see it there, but try to understand when you feel an emotion, try to see like, what the fuck is that? Why am I feeling like that about this certain part? And I know that's too much to do at sometimes, but do it a little bit here and there and maybe kind of figure out some things. And hey, I'm the last person to fucking talk. I've fucked up more than anybody, so I'm not I'm not here trying to, you know, do all that shit. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? So